So, okay, let's go over this test that you have to take tomorrow. Now, it will not be this. This was just a practice test, but it's going to look really, really similar. Really, 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 if that makes sense. It's pretty much the same thing, but different questions. So let's figure out where you were confused. So the first question is talking about Aileen, tomato. She can plant 6 flowers in 15 minutes. How long will it take her to plant 30? So we've talked about ratios for comparing two things. So I'm comparing 6 flowers, you need to even just call it F, to 15 minutes. M's. Make it as simple as you can. We always like to label so we know what we're comparing. So next, they give us some really critical information. They told you that she's done 30 flowers, but they didn't tell you how many minutes. So basically, we have to look at two things. What's the relationship between 6 and 30? Someone whispered in my ear times 5, and that would be correct. 6 times 5 would get you 30 flowers. So what we did on top here, we're going to make it equivalent, and we're going to do the same thing on the bottom, and we will multiply it by 5. So you got to do 15 times 5, and if you count on your fingers really fast, or you do 5 times 5 is 25, 75. So your answer is 75 minutes. That's how long it will take. So again, when you're comparing two things, you have to make them equal, and you'll get your answer. So that's more of a ratio problem. Not too simple or not too hard. Can't talk today. But just saying, if it's going up, you're going to multiply. If it's going backwards, you're going to divide. Just like the next one. They got 3 players here. Abel, Brian, and Charlie. Bit my finger. All right. We're trying to find who reads the fastest and put them in order from fastest to slowest. That's the most important part. Looking at this, we're going to find unit rates. So I'm going to do A for Abel. He does 50 pages in 45 minutes. So I'm going to write 50 P over 45 M. Now I want to get minutes to 1. So the only way to do that is divide each by 45. I get 1M on the bottom, and 45 and 50, I think is 1.1. 50 divided by 45, it's 1.1. It repeats, so I'm just going to call it 1.1. So he reads a page in a little bit every minute. Probably faster than me. I've never read in my life. Now Brian, he does 150 pages in 75 minutes. So we're setting all these up the same. So I'm going to divide each one by 75 here. So I got 75. What I do on the bottom, I do on the top. And I know 75 goes into 150 2 times. So this Brian reads 2 pages every 1 minute. I know there's not a lot of room on this. So if you went up to the top of your paper, which I'm going to do, the more work I like. Now Charlie, all right. Oop. Charlie does 225 pages in an hour and a half. Well, I'm going to convert my hour and a half to 90 minutes. 30, 30, 30. So I'm going to do my 225p over my 90 m's. Divide both by 90 so I can get 1 on the bottom. And I get 2.5. So he reads 2.5 minutes or pages. Ooh, I'm screwing that up. 2.5 pages per minute. Brian reads 2 pages per minute, and Albie reads 1.1 page per minute. So now I got to just put them in order from fastest to slowest. So it kind of just went the way we solved it. So we got Charlie in first place. We got Brian in second. And our slow reader, like myself, is Albie. So, again, I'm not going to sit here and write their names out, but that's how you find the unit rate. You want to get 1 on the bottom every time. And again, how do you get 1 on the bottom? You get to divide the number on the bottom by itself to get 1, and you do the same thing to the number up top. So what you do on the bottom, you do on the top. There you go. My robot's in here. Hopefully they run out of batteries. They don't interrupt. All right, moving on. No different. We have a constant rate. Adam bought a new video game. At this rate, we have to finish how many points he would score. So he scores the same points for each minute. 1.5. So using that information, I went from 1.5 to 3. How did I do that? Well, he probably multiplied it by 2 because 2 times 1.5 is 3. So what I do to one side, I do to the other to keep it equivalent. So this is 2 minutes of playing time. Next, so I can look at my relationship between 2 and 4 and 2 and 6. Since we're going up, we are multiplying. So 2 times 2 is 4. So what I do to one side, I do the other. 3 times 2 is 6. So he scores 6 points in 4 minutes. Same thing. From 2 to 6 is times 3. So from 3 to 6, it's times 3. I get 9. Now graphing. This is where people continue to struggle. We labeled it for you. Tomorrow you'll have a chart on your real test. You might have to label it. Time on the bottom. Whatever else you're comparing on the side. X and Y. X over Y. So we did 1.5. Got him 1 minute. So I'll go to the 1 minute right here. And I'll go up to 1.5. It's in between 1 and 2. Whoops, that was way off. So then 3 points gives him 2 minutes. So I'll go to my 2 and go up to my 3. I'm doing my best. I'm using my finger here. I go over to my 4 minutes and go up to the 6. And again, it's constant, so it's going to be a pretty straight line. And I'll go over to my 6 and go up to the 9. And then again, tomorrow we'll have rulers. I'm going to use my finger, but it's going to be a nice straight, constant line. Pretty much straight down the middle almost. If it was a little steeper. That's all I got to do tomorrow.
Wait, was the last one 6 and 9?
All right, moving on. Again, you had to read the question today to get all the points. Solve the following. Identify the strategy you used. So we gave you draw a picture, common denominator, multiplier, supergiant 1. Show your work. So you're going to get a point for getting it right. You're going to get a point for showing your work. And you get a point for writing just KCF next to it. So A, I'll do KCF. Keep it, change it, flip it. Simple as that. And I'm going to write KCFs so we can at least identify what you did wrong if you pick the right strategy. And we can have a talk about that. 5 times 4 is 20. 6 times 3 is 18.
Divide that by 2.
Divide them both by 2. They're both even. I get 10 ninths. How many 9s go into 10? I'm running out of room here, so I'll go up top, and I'll just use a different color for my final answer. You get 1 and 1/9. So the next one, here's where a lot of you are struggling too. Some watching this right now. We have mixed numbers. We need to turn mixed numbers into improper fractions. And then just like here, we had an improper fraction. We turned it back into a mixed number. You need this for full credit. So I usually like to rewrite mine just so I can change them. You multiply the denominator by your whole number. You add the numerator, keep the original denominator. So 3 times 2 is 6. Plus 1 is 7. So this becomes 7/3. Real quick, I'll do it for 1 and 2 6, and I'll come over here and do it because I want to keep change flip. So I already changed it. Multiply denominator by your whole number, 6. Add your numerator, 8. So this becomes 8/6. Well, I need to keep change flip, so this is going to become 6/8. eighths. Multiply straight across. Again, we're doing keep, change, flip. 42 and 24. Pick a different color here so I can rewrite over my stuff. So I can probably divide both those by 2 to get 21 over 12. I can divide both those by 3 now, seeing that. 3 goes into 21 7 times. 3 goes into 12 4 times. So I got it down to lowest terms. 7 fourths. How many fours go into 7? 1. What's left over? 3. Keep the bottom. Fourths. So it's 1 and 3/4. A lot of work on that one. You also could have cross-canceled here and know that 3 and 6 had a common factor. Could have made this 3, could have made this 1, and then you would have got 21 over 8 and went from there. Actually, this would have been 2. It would have been 14 over 8. Okay, moving on to the next page. Bear with me. All right. A lot of people struggled here today because you didn't circle your terms and you didn't show all your steps. Again, reading instructions is important to passing. All right. Terms are separated by plus and minuses. So you should have circled your 5. Should have circled your 8 divided by 2 squared. Should have circled your 6 times 5 plus 4 because parentheses doesn't mean it's locked in there. Plus and minus need to be on the outside. And then you should have circled your 5 squared. So we're doing PEMDAS, parentheses, exponents. So we'll look at the parentheses first. We have 5 plus 4. So that is 9. We'll keep that in parentheses. Now, that's just a multiplication problem, so I'll skip to my exponents. I have exponents here. 2 squared, that means 2 times 2, which is 4. I'll even bring down my plus sign to separate those. Then I have 5 times 5 here, which is 25. I'll bring down that minus sign. I'll bring down my 5, I'll bring down my minus, and I'll bring down my 8, and I'll bring down my divided sign. So I'll circle terms again. I got 5 here. Got 8 divided by 4. I got 6 times 9, and I have 25. So multiplication and division, it just comes what comes first from left to right. So I'll do 8 divided by 4. I'll switch colors here. Is 2. 6 times 9 is 54. Good. I'll bring down my sign. So I got my plus sign. I got my 5, I got my minus, and I got my minus 25. So I'm all left with plus and minus. So now I just need to work from left to right. So 5 minus 2 is 3. 3 plus 54 is 57. And 57 minus 25 is your final answer? 32. Showed all my steps. Next one, 2 to the 3rd power, 2 cubed. We got 8, and we got 16 divided by 8 times 2. So 3 things to circle. So parentheses, nothing in parentheses, exponents. I have 2 times 2 times 2. Some of you might have messed that up. You might have did 2 times 3 is 6. Well, 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8, so this becomes an 8. I can bring down my plus sign. I got my 8. Now I got to do my 16 divided by 8 times 2. Again, work from left to right. 16 divided by 2 is 2. 2 times 2 is 4, so I can bring that down. Add a minus sign in between here. That's that minus sign. Now we just have addition and subtraction left. So 8 plus 8 is 16. 16 minus 4 is 12. Again, show each step. Always work left to right. You'll have 2 more tomorrow. Probably easier than these 2. Okay, so we have to complete the ratio tables. Again, they're going to be equivalent. They gave you 650 in 3 hours. We did give you extra boxes if you wanted to go. They did want us to know how far he'll fly in 9. So you could have put 9 here. You could have found 6 here. It doesn't matter. Or you could just solve for 9. That's what we're going to do today so we can move on. Next one, they want you to find 16 hours. So you could have did 4, 8, 12, 16. Or you could just did 16 right away. It's up to you. If you like doing patterns, you're just going to do more work. We just want an answer. So, again, going back to the front, if I know 4 is here, how do I get to 16? You're going to multiply by 4. So what you do on the bottom, you do on the top. So you're going to do 640 times 4. And you're going to get 2,560 bagels. Hopefully you're hungry. Next one, you got 3. So how'd you get to 9? You probably multiplied that by 3. So what you do on the bottom, you do on the top. You multiply it by 3. And you would have got 1,950. That's it. So again, what you do on the bottom, you do on the top. Oh, whoops. All right. This is probably the easiest part of the test. You're just looking at 2 graphs, Mr. Delegati, Mrs. Gilbert, Mrs. McGinnis's class. Willie and Jean left the library at the same time, and they rode their bikes to the swimming pool. One graph represents Willie's bike ride. The other is Jean. So here's Willie. Whoop. Here's Willie's, and here's Jean's. So on the way to the pool, Willie stopped for 10 minutes, which is represented here because it's flat. We've learned that in science class. If it's flat, you're not moving. You are waiting. He put air in his tires. Dang, that's a long time to put air in your tires. He's probably a little tired after that. Jean did not stop. So which one was Willie's? Whoops, I already told you that because I'm trying to get through this. Willie's was up top, so you would have said graph A. How does it show that Willie stopped? There's many ways you could have answered this. I would just go simple. He has a flat line. And I always call, if you're hooked up to a heart monitor in the hospital and you're going beep, 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 you're moving. If it goes flat, that means you're dead. So flat means you're stopped. You stop breathing. That's how I always remember. It's a flat line. Simple as that. Or you could have said he stopped between 10 and 20 minutes because that's what they said in the instructions above. Who got to the pool first then? Distance over time. So it looks like Willie, I can't see his graph. He got there in, even though he stopped, he still got there in about 40 minutes. And Jean didn't get there until 50. So A or Willie still got there first. How far is the library? You look right here. That was their end point. End point, it was 5 miles. So just again, you're going to have a chart tomorrow. You just got to use the information and answer the questions. Last page, real quick, it's just vocab. I will just write the correct answers. We had B for factor. Study these again. You might see them again. We had F for coefficient. We had A for variable. C for expression. D for constant. And E for term. So review this again. If you just need more practice, I just go look up order of operation problems. All you got to do is Google it, pick a problem, see if you can get an answer. And just remember, get rates, get 1 on the bottom. What you do on the bottom, you do to the top. And I think you should be pretty successful tomorrow. It's the same length. There's only a front and back of work and then vocab. So don't stress about the number of problems. We're not giving you that much. Come in tomorrow, get some sleep, and ace this thing. Thanks for watching, and sorry you had to listen to me talk for, let's see here. I hope it recorded.